Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I don't know if you saw, but recently I put a poll on my channel asking you guys what TV show you want me to reflect on. And with a resounding 70+%, Bojack Horseman came out on top. And Bojack is a great show, actually one of my favourites, because it talks about mental health from a position with someone who's successful in life. You think as a movie star, TV star, that person will be happy, content and have their life in order. When actually, you can see no matter what position you find yourself in life, mental health affects us all. Bojack Horseman is one of the best shows on TV talking about mental health. And again, if you voted, thank you so much. As I said, Bojack's one of my favourite shows and I don't mind watching it over and over again. And hopefully you get to learn a little bit more about your mental health too. So let's get on with the first one.
What do you want, Mom?
Look who finally decided to pick up the phone.
Do you need more blood?
I don't need blood. I read your book, Bojack.
Oh.
It takes a real narcissist to think anyone wants to buy a book about him. You know how I feel about Anne Frank.
That was a diary.
You see, his mother is someone that he respects, that he wants approval from. We all do on some way. Because remember, our parents showed us what it means to be a human being. We learn from our parents and what our self-worth is from our parents. So if we're always looking for that validation of our parents and they're not showing it to us, like she just said, a real narcissist needs to write a book about themselves. Share it, showing Bojack that she feels that he's a narcissist. There's something wrong with him for writing a book, for being him. You can't get much more. It's a sorry state of affairs, isn't it? When a mother can't be proud of her son for writing a book about himself, being the person he wants to be and sharing that with the world. It feels like all he wants is his mother's approval. And she's not willing to give him that. Just think about what that does for your sense of self-worth and self-esteem. If your mother or parent can't even share with you a sense of pride and happiness for putting your mind to something and being successful at it.
How I feel about Anne Frank.
That was a diary.
I read the parts about me, the things I said to you. You must think I'm a real monster.
Mom.
I don't want to fight you, Bojack. I just wanted to tell you, I know you want to be happy, but you won't be, and I'm sorry.
What?
You won't be happy. Now that's an internal monologue going around in Bojack's head the whole time. This is why people look for substances such as drugs, alcohol, or addictive tendencies in order to fulfill them, to give them a sense of self-worth. Because if Bojack's being told that he's not going to be successful or happy, or he's not good enough at all times by people around him, he's never going to believe it himself. Seems like his mother set the bar really low for him.
What?
It's not just you, you know. Your father and I, well, you come by it honestly, the ugliness inside you. You were born broken. That's your birthright. And now you can fill your life with projects, your books and your movies and your little girlfriends, but well, it won't make you whole. You're Bojack Horseman. There's no cure for that.
Feels rather nihilistic. It feels like she's already written Bojack's whole life, that he's damaged and there's no hope for him because his parents couldn't find happiness. And just because where you come from has made you feel a certain way. Okay, they set the precedent for your life, but that doesn't mean that you can't make changes in your life to be happy, to be successful, to be content and happy. You know, she's saying that there's no hope for him because of the life that she and her husband, Bojack's father, have led. And I can't feel that I can't help but feel that you couldn't be further from the truth. And I know that can't be further from the truth. It'll make it harder for him, but it doesn't mean that all hope is lost. We still do have control over our lives.
You're for that. Anyway, do you remember who directed the Philadelphia story? 5 letters, second letter U.
Lubitsch?
No, Bojack. Goodbye.
You need to visualize it flying.
And then she just changes the subject. Just think about how Bojack's feeling right now. His own mother won't give him the time of day to talk to him about what's important to him. She'll just tell him how he's going to end up. Let's go on to the next clip, shall we?
Go talk to her, idiot. Drink first. No, you stupid alcoholic. Talk to your daughter.
This is really good because this is what's going on in Bojack's head all the time. He's, oh, I feel anxious, therefore I need to drink. That's the first initial response he has to any sense of anxiety, tension, and stress. Because alcohol does what it says on the tin. It will relax you. It will make you drunk. That doesn't mean it's the best option for you. It's just he knows, as we all do, what happens when we have a drink. That's why his default response when he feels anxious is to have a drink. It will just take that sting of emotion away.
You're ruining her. You know that, right? No matter what, your poison is already in her. There's nothing you can do. That's not true. Yeah, it is. You stupid piece of shit. You're a real stupid piece of shit. And everywhere you go, you destroy people. Of course your mother never loved you. What do you expect? That's why Sarah Lynn died. That's why Charlotte will never forgive you. What are you going to do to Hollyhock? What are you going to do, asshole? Shut up!
Deafening voice. That negative automatic voice coming out telling him how wrong and how damaged he is and how he needs to go away so he doesn't damage anyone else. That's just one point of view, remember. That doesn't mean that's who you are. That doesn't mean that's who Bojack is. It's just one frame of reference. And you can change that using skill set that a counselor can teach you, or understanding the motive for that voice, understanding why he feels like that, understanding the whole history of where that voice and that point of view has come from. So what it is, remember, a point of view, an opinion on who you are. And it feels, for Bojack, deafening. As you can see in the picture, he's got his hands on his ears. He doesn't want to hear it anymore. Doesn't mean it's the only point of view out there. And as you can see, he's wrestling with that, saying, no, that's not right. Yes, it is. Then it goes on, he says, stop, and then it keeps on going, and it gives more and more and more examples, trying its best to tell him who he is. Because that's where maybe he feels the most comfortable, being damaged and wrong. That doesn't mean it's true. Very brave going out there.
Got doll back.
Even though he's got that voice going on in his head, he's still willing to try. He's still willing to break that cycle. Well done, Bojack.
Where do you go when you disappear all day?
Just drive around. Sometimes I go to a bar. Sometimes I pull over by the side of the road and just sit there for hours.
Why? And you'd rather do that than spend time with me.
Hollyhock.
I know you didn't ask for this dorky 17-year-old to just show up at your door. Then I'm sorry if I'm annoying, but
No,
I didn't ask
Hollyhock,
for...
I'm glad you're here.
Oh.
Brave of her
Because I'm shitty.
to bring that
and
up
you're
with
a lousy
Bojack.
enemy. But you need to know that whatever I do, it's not your fault.
I know.
But even though it's not her fault, she's got to live with the fact that Bojack won't be there for her when she needs him. But she has to live with the fact that it might not be her fault, but she has to live with the fact that Bojack can just do whatever he wants. That's not fair on her when she's waiting for him to give her love and affection, and he's spending time doing whatever he's doing. It's about having that boundary, something that you share, a point of view, saying, you're going to be there at this time, this is what I have to do. Because Hollyhock relies on him, because Hollyhock is relying on Bojack to be that figure, to be the person who she wants him to be and that he wants to be too. If you make plans, you've made that boundary, you've got to stick to it so that trust can become a part of that relationship.
I mean, I know, but I don't always know, you know? Like sometimes I have this tiny voice in the back of my head that goes like, hey, everyone hates you, and they're not wrong to feel that way. Just
like Bojack, it's fun, isn't it? She has the same internal voice saying that she's wrong. Negative automatic thoughts, a negative point of view. We've all got it in the back of our head, but for some of us, it gets so big and so loud, we can't get away from it. Remember, it's just one point of view. It's not everything. Understand that and question it so that you can get the real answer that you're looking for.
I know what you mean.
That voice, the one that tells you you're worthless and stupid and ugly.
Yeah?
It goes away, right? It's just like a dumb teenage girl thing, but then it goes away.
It never goes away unless you put the work in to understand its point of view, question it, debunk it, and get rid of it by minimizing the effect that it has on you. Understanding it's just one point of view. It's a big, big statement. So many of us just think that the first thought we have is the truth, is who we are, is how we relate to the world and what the world thinks of us. It's just one point of view.
Yeah.
And Bojack, he says yes, but really, he knows that he's just gone through that whole cycle that boy's going on. Age has nothing to do with it. It's all to do with the work that you put in to yourself to understand it's just one point of view. Clip 3.
Okay, but on the bright side, look, Mr. Peanut Butter loves you. You got a cool job. You got friends.
Jesus, you're right. Even when I was above ground, I wasn't satisfied. Oh my God, I'm the problem.
Whoa! What the?
Why can't I be happy? Am I busted?
No.
I am. I'm a pit. I'm a pit.
Why can't I be happy? Almost like we feel that we should be happy because we've ticked all the boxes. We've got a partner, we've got a house, we're rich, we're successful, all those bits are tick, 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 tick. However, that doesn't mean you're happy. Those are just parts of life. They make life maybe a little bit easier in some respects, but just think about having to be with someone who we're not in love with, who we don't get on with. Imagine having all that money and not doing something that you enjoy for a living. Imagine not having the freedom to live your life the way you want to because of that expectation that's been put on you. We've all been told how to be and how to live and what it means to be an adult or just a person. That doesn't mean it's right for you. Just because your friends are doing one thing doesn't mean that you need to do it. You know, she doesn't need to feel sad because she's different. She's just different. There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm a pit. I'm a pit that good things fall into.
Diane, you're not a pit.
I'm a pit. I can't believe I'm crying. This is so dumb.
It's okay. Don't feel bad about feeling bad.
You just...
Yeah, I mean, what's wrong with crying? What's wrong with crying, Diane? You know, you're upset about something. It's a response to something happening to you. It's an expression of emotion. It's all been tied up inside, and all of a sudden, you feel that you have to release it. It's a normal way that people relate to sad things. Just like, let's take laughter as an example. People don't tell you to stop laughing because laughter is something joyous, something that's rewarded in our society. Therefore, people don't say, oh, stop laughing, that's wrong. Or we don't feel, oh, we should stop laughing here. We're just expressing an emotion, just like crying. Crying is not bad. Understand why you're crying. Understand it's an expression of an emotion that's been built up inside, and then use that emotion in order to better your life.
You disappeared for a year and a half.
So you do want to talk about it. Just took 4 solid days of drinking.
If you were back in LA, why didn't you call me?
4 solid days of drinking. That's where she had to get to because alcohol lets us feel a little bit numb, stops us from it being so emotional, and allows us to actually get more in touch with that more emotional versions of ourselves without feeling like we have to hold everything in. Lowers our inhibitions.
Why didn't you call me?
I wasn't ready.
Ready? For what?
I wanted to be better when you saw me again, and I thought I could be somehow, but I'm not. And even if I did get better, the best I could ever be is still just some other version of me.
What's wrong with Bojack the way he is? Almost this perception of perfection that we're all striving for, when actually people don't want you to be perfect. People want you to be yourself. Diane wants Bojack to be him so that she can be herself with him too. That's how you relate to people. Not by being perfect, but just by being honest and upfront and truthful. Diane doesn't want Bojack to be anything else than he is. All she wanted was for him to be present in her life.
Bojack, I can't wait for you to be better. I need you in my life.
Really?
You're the biggest asshole I know, and you're the only thing that makes sense to me.
Diane can relate to Bojack because she feels just as broken as Bojack is. Last clip.
My mom died and all I got was this free churro. You know the shittiest thing about all of this? Is when that stranger behind the counter gave me that free churro. That small act of kindness showed more compassion than my mother gave me her entire goddamn life.
You see how angry Bojack is here, because we know that he didn't have the best relationship with his mother. And maybe he's angry about that. He's offsetting the emotional response from his mother onto something or someone else that doesn't feel as painful or as horrible. That's why you find that people get so angry when they're sad. Anger is the first response that people feel. It keeps us safe. It makes us act. Therefore, we feel angry, but then the anger mellows into that sadness. And it feels like Bojack's right at the start of his journey when it comes to feeling the loss and the bereavement of his mother.
I have this friend, and right around when I first met her, her dad died. And I actually went with her to the funeral. And months later, she told me that she didn't understand why she was still upset, because she never even liked her father. It made sense to me, because I went through the same thing when my dad died, and I'm going through the same thing now.
Maybe she wasn't upset that she didn't like her father. Maybe she was upset that she never got to have the relationship that she wanted with her father. We see what it's like to be a dad, or to be a daughter, or a husband, or a son, how we're meant to act. And as a result, we're all fighting for that sense of perfection. Therefore, Bojack's friend, maybe she never got to have the dad that she wanted, which is what she was upset about. That potential is gone.
You know what it's like? It's like that show Becker, you know, with Ted Danson. I watched the entire run of that show hoping that it would get better, and it never did. It had all the right pieces, but it couldn't put them together. And when it got canceled, I was really bummed out. Not because I liked the show, but because I knew it could be so much better.
It could be better, that there was a chance of something better there, but unfortunately now the show is finished, or now a family member has passed away. It can never get better. This is all that the story could ever be.
Much better, and now it never would be. And that's what losing a parent is like. It's like Becker. Suddenly you realize you'll never have the good relationship you wanted, and as long as they were alive, even though you'd never admit it, part of you, the stupidest goddamn part of you, was still holding on to that chance, and you didn't even realize it until that chance went away. My mother is dead, and everything is worse now. Because now I know I will never have a mother who looks at me from across the room and says, "Bojack Horseman, I see you."
You can really see the sadness in Bojack's eyes, can't you? In his voice, that he never got to have the relationship that he wanted with his mother. Death is where everything stops. There's no more potential when someone has passed away. But the potential is still there in the way that you relate to their actions, in the way that you see their life, and your life too, with them there and also with them not there. Think about Bojack. Maybe due to the fact he had all that loss, he was able to become a great movie star, to be a version of himself which meant that he could reflect and give whatever he could back to that person that he's relating to, a friend. It made him him. And therefore we have to think, okay, there's some good in that, but also some bad. And that bad can be worked on. There's so much potential there to change and be the person that you want to be. Just because you've been served a couple of bad hands in your past doesn't mean you can't change that. And maybe by being served those bad hands, it enabled you to see a little bit quicker what you need to change. But for me, those clips really exemplified exactly what Bojack was all about. Someone who was really successful, who was really trying hard to be the best version of himself. That's what Bojack was all about. Someone who was damaged, who was trying their best to connect to the world, understand themselves, and be the best version of themselves for themselves and also for everyone else. But yet, unfortunately, he always felt like his hands were tied. He was always fighting a battle, not just in terms of what he wanted, but also the way that people saw him, and also what he was expected to be by the world. He's a film star, right? He's a TV star. He should, in inverted commas, be happy and perfect. But none of us are. And just because we've got all the money in the world doesn't mean that it's any easier or any harder. It's just got its own struggles. So unfortunate, isn't it? Because those struggles mean that he doesn't feel able to change the way he is. And he's trying so hard. And that's what I loved about Bojack. It always felt like he was trying his best to be the best version of himself. Unfortunately, he didn't always act in a way that helped him or helped others around him. But he did try, and I commend him for that. He wasn't able to connect to himself because it was too hard. He felt too damaged and too upset. Therefore, he kept on making mistakes, which meant that other people had to pick up the pieces for him, and he kept on messing things up. The work that Bojack needs to do is to connect with what's wrong with him, and by knowing that, he can then reflect and be the best version of himself for everyone and help people too. But remember, you need to help yourself in order to help other people too. On that note, I'm going to wish you all the best. Remember to like this video and subscribe to see plenty more to come. Also, any other videos you want me to comment on, why don't you leave them in the comments, and I'll do so in my next videos coming up really soon. Look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.